Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. It is Fred Staab and Les Jackson.
Yay.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, we've got a great hour of automotive news and reviews and reveals. And, you know, Les, you and I have been talking about this. Everyone seems to be telling us that there's a lot of EV doubt out there. It's kind of like a trend. Brands are doubting that they should have gotten into EVs, and they're looking to add plug-in hybrids and hybrids, which is what most people want right now, right?
Well, that's right. Now, you know, I think we both agree that EVs are here to stay. Mm-hmm. It's just that they're not here for everyone right now because there are too many, not problems to overcome, but there are just too many factors involved with owning an EV, especially if you're a renter in an apartment or whatever. So, yeah, it's too much too soon. You know, did you pay too much if you bought an EV? No, you just bought it too early.
Yeah, you're on the bleeding edge of technology, as they say. So
right.
GM says EVs are just too hard to sell. So they are adding hybrids to its lineup. And will the Volt be making a comeback? Remember that?
Maybe so. And another high-end manufacturer says combustion engine ban won't happen as soon as you think. We don't think so either.
And Toyota played it smart. Profits are skyrocketing as consumers opt for hybrids and plug-in hybrids, and they've got plenty of them in their lineup.
And let's not forget about hydrogen. You can run an engine on hydrogen. It's not hard to do, not to mention fuel cells.
Yeah, and it's getting a lot more talk and a lot of development, and I think we're going to see more about that in the future. Plus, Mazda shows its CX70. We'll talk about that. Mazda getting very high-end. I have their CX90 right now, and it's a very, very high-end vehicle, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with the CX70. And Les, something for you as a pilot. How about the Hondajet? Can you believe it?
Yeah.
Honda builds jets. They built 250 of these, and
it's a pretty cool jet. It looks neat. It is well received. If you want to buy me one, hey, thank you in advance.
Okay, and we'll have that, and we'll also have a review of the Buick Envista, kind of an affordable Buick. And we'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Right, Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Well, let's roll in here. General Motors says that EVs are just too hard to sell.
Yep.
Imagine any car company saying anything is too hard to sell. So anyway, it's adding hybrids to its lineup. So our question is, of course, will the Volt be making a comeback? Because that was really a nice car.
Yeah.
It was never what I would say. It was very successful. That was the poorest launch of a vehicle I know of. because nobody GM could explain exactly what it was.
Yeah, and what it was an extended range electric vehicle. Basically,
Right.
it was an electric vehicle with a range extender. Very much like what the new Ram Charger is going to be. The engine is not driving the wheels, it is acting like a big generator.
It's a generator, right?
Yeah. You know what happened too? This Mary Barra, who runs GM, said, you know, hey, we've got to get plug-in hybrids. That's what people want. We can't. It's a hard time selling EVs. And the stock shot up when she said we're moving plug-in hybrids and hybrids into it. Why do you think they pushed to move this so fast? Was it that, and not just GM, but other manufacturers, was it that, hey, you know, it's expensive to do hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and then move away from those and move into electric? I mean, really, the electrics, I have to say, for the most part, are not ready for most people because they don't want to spend $80,000 on a vehicle that gets 230 miles of range and, you know, will be outdated by new battery technology in a few years.
Well, and it would appear, again, it's my opinion, but it would appear that the electrics have filled their market and it's going to be quite stagnant for quite a while. But I think the companies like GM are saying, well, we're going to build hybrids. I think it's a relief to them that they don't have to build as many EVs because they lose money on every one right now.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they can offer high mileage, efficient drivetrains. So I think it's pretty easy to make that decision to jump on it. And the question is, how good will it be? I mean, you don't want to go too fast. You could make some mistakes.
Yeah, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on it. Maybe you really have to entice people to buy electric cars. Free electricity for the life of the vehicle. How about that?
Yeah, that would be I believe, but you're already losing money.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just don't think the technology for most people is there yet. As I often counsel a lot of people, as you do, when they go to buy vehicles, I tell them, don't buy an expensive electric car. If you want one right now, they drive great.
Well,
lease it. Or buy a Chevy Bolt, you know, where, it's not a high range car, but it's not an expensive car. Don't spend $85,000 or $100,000 on a car with less than 300 miles range because it's going to be a thing of the past in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, I get emails or phone calls sometimes from people. I'd like to buy an electric. Well, where do you live? What do you live in?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a condo or an apartment. Well, where's your charger?
Yeah.
And what is it?
Yeah, exactly. So
because that's a problem.
I've always thought all vehicles should have a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid model. Look at the F-150. Their hybrid is great, you know, and you're not giving anything up, and you're getting actually more capability. I just also think we have to get away from there is just one, you know, it's only electric cars for the future. I think we have to get away from that. I think that's not realistic for everyone either.
That's right. I mean, if you can use an electric and you can handle the logistics, they are wonderful machines.
They drive great.
To drive.
Yeah.
But I think it's like having a horse. You know, they're beautiful and they're fun to ride, but you'd better have all of the surrounding logistics worked out, or it's going to cost you an awful lot of time and money.
Well, we're going to stay on this story and tell you about one manufacturer that says 2035 for banning the internal combustion engine. Nah, it's not going to happen. So we'll tell you who's talking that way when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. We're still on the subject of EVs and
doubt.
The predicted end of internal combustion engines and the emissions bans, and the folks at Porsche have stood up and said,
not so fast.
It's not going to happen as soon as the governments think. So this is kind of an interesting thing. Lutz Meschke.
I'm glad you said that.
I'm probably pronouncing it's probably Lutz Mischke, but anyway, Porsche's chief financial officer. He says that Europe's combustion ban may be delayed once again. All of these bans have been delayed and delayed and delayed everywhere. So, what's to keep them in place right now? So, I
have a trouble with calling it a ban. I definitely don't think government should come on like, we're banning this. You've been bad. It's like you're a small child. Just say transition.
Yeah, or, phase out.
Yes, phase out. That's a good one, too.
Yeah.
Bans to me is heavy-handed. But anyway, I think the British Prime Minister realized 2035 basically was just going to put too much pressure on automakers and also people that need to buy new vehicles,
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up because, we talked last week about the fact that the price of the average new vehicle has already outstripped the price of the average household to buy.
Right.
And the worst thing you can do is to make something untenable or unsustainable. That doesn't work.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're creating your own crisis.
Yes, I agree. And once again, I said it before the break. I'll say it again. It's not necessarily all just electric only vehicles, and my fear is the major manufacturers will just say, well, there's no profit in small affordable electrics, and that will be ceded to China and they'll never get it back. Yeah. And that's
exactly right.
They will cede it to China, and China will make these, throw together vehicles that last a couple of years, and that will be it. None of them in Europe or the U.S. will ever get it back. And I just think that's bad for everyone. So I don't think it's 2035, maybe 2050. What do you think about that?
Certainly the 2040s. Big things are going to happen in between after 2040 that are way too complicated to get into now. But there are going to be a whole lot of major things that the world has to face that I don't think anybody's paying attention. But
let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Since there's so much money needed to now build plug-in hybrids and develop better battery technology, should automakers just drop self-driving and just say, forget it? We'll just do it to the point where there are no more collisions, which they're getting there with automatic braking.
They are getting there.
That's making a big difference. Should they just drop the idea of self-driving eggs that just go around? Maybe they have to save money. Maybe that should be what falls victim.
That would make a lot of sense. I think all of them are looking at that particular issue, and then also looking at the EV issue, realizing, hey, we're putting a lot of money in this, and now the market is just sort of plateaued. So let's all just keep the self-driving level or the driver assist level where it is, and we'll approach it sometime in the future.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah, why not?
interesting article in Reuters, by the way. Toyota to outshine rivals as more consumers opt for hybrids amid EV slowdown. They're actually calling it an EV slowdown. And you and I said this a number of years ago. Well, Toyota does hybrids really well, and they've got everything from large SUVs to
Everything.
Camrys and Corollas and everything else, and including the Prius, RAV4 hybrid, incredible, large SUV or larger crossover, I guess. And they're doing gangbusters now, and I think they've played it correctly. And everyone
Absolutely.
criticizes them. Oh, you're not building electric cars, but you know what they've done for emissions and for reducing gas use,
Huge.
uh,
Huge.
and making cars that are, well, not cheap, but they are much more affordable than a full electric.
Absolutely true. They have sold battery EVs last year, 104,000 of them, but compared to the amount of hybrids they've sold, which is, my gosh, the tens and tens of millions.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, look at just what they alone have done for the environment and for just overall efficiency.
yeah, yeah. Now, another player in all this is hydrogen. And
Yep.
this was an article, Top Speed. It said electric vehicles may reign supreme in clean transportation conversation, but a silent revolution is brewing beneath the hood of different technology, the hydrogen combustion engine, or HCE.
Got to have an acronym here. You got to.
This interesting article it says it dates back to 1766 when Henry Cavendish first identified and isolated hydrogen. And I'm hearing a lot more about hydrogen now. There's race engines being developed. There's going to be race engines at, is it 2026 or is it 2028 Le Mans? Um, I mean, you want to be a prognosticator? When do you think we'll see hydrogen stations and actual hydrogen filling stations more common?
Hmm.
And will it be a hydrogen powered fuel cell that will become a norm, or
I'd say,
will it
I'd
be a
say,
hydrogen powered
yeah,
combustion engine? You
I
know,
think we'll see this phased in over the next 10 or 12 years.
trucks might
Uh,
do it. Big Class
Trucks,
8 trucks.
especially,
Yeah,
yeah, and it's wonderful stuff. I mean, it's hydrogen is the cleanest burning thing there is. There is just nothing that's cleaner, and that you get the power. And if you just think about all of us with collector cars, and there are millions upon millions of them out there,
right,
you could clean up their emissions tomorrow by converting them to hydrogen.
right, right. It's
It's
interesting.
not expensive to do it.
I wonder if any of that's been on the SEMA floor. Conversion kit. There are filling stations,
Probably,
especially in
probably,
California.
probably. I'll look that up because I'm sure people have done it.
Yeah.
As a project, SEMA, has had vehicles.
I also I wonder what that does hydrogen for the engine. It must be super clean inside. No sludge.
Super clean,
Yeah.
super clean.
Yeah, like you just assembled it.
You almost would never have to change oil.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
that's that alone is a good reason to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot to come up on cruise control, and we're going to take a look at the CX70 Mazda, which is another one of their crossovers. They're a brand that's gotten into plug-in hybrids, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then, it's sort of an as the Tesla turns. This time it's wheel covers cutting into the sidewalls of tires.
Who would have thought?
Oh, man. They look like
Who would have thought?
Plastic garbage can lids. And then we'll have a review of the Buick Envista on cruise control.
Handsome.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson with you. And we had a great discussion on, kind of EV doubt, I guess I would call it.
Yeah.
Second guessing, and we'll keep you up to date on that. We want to hear what you think, and where will it all go? I don't know. It's interesting, but we will see. We shall see, as they say. But one brand that has been getting on the bandwagon of plug-in hybrids is none other than Mazda. I actually have a Mazda CX70 right now, and this is a little bit smaller, the CX70. The interiors are going high-end. It has got advanced powertrain and plug-in hybrid, an Skyactiv G plug-in hybrid vehicle with a 3.3-liter inline 6 turbo engine. And they are really changing the brand where, they're going high-end, they're going plug-in hybrids. I think they will do very well. This definitely looks like a small CX90, flat sides, super flat sides. Like it's like a, I can't describe it. It's like a box on the side. And high-end interiors for sure. They have the something called unresponsive driver assist. That's some of them. I've experienced unresponsive drivers, but that means basically it will do emergency braking if you're just not doing this. Unresponsive driver support. Emergency-only system to automatically decelerate and stop the vehicle if the system detects the driver is unresponsive to escalating alerts. Good system.
Yeah. They really are upping the game quite a bit.
You and I had talked about this too. I mean, maybe this is the extent to what we get with self-driving cars, basically, they want to eliminate accidents. They don't want to say, hey, 40,000 people got killed in a car accident and this car was made by XYZ. So maybe that's the extent of it, what they should do for self-driving. But we'll see. Also put those comments in the when you make a comment on one of our Facebook or YouTube pages, just put a comment in there. What do you think? Should that be what they do? You were saying, Les, about taller vehicles. So a study now that suggests taller vehicles with that kind of front cliff, that big flat front end, means more pedestrian deaths. They suggest in this study that a maximum 49-inch hood height could save 509 lives per year. What do you think of this? I've driven a lot of vehicles where it is basically a right angle. The hood falls off. You can't see them. You need like one of those mirror school buses used to have where it sticks out
absolutely.
front.
I mean, when I've driven them, I notice I have to pay special attention if I'm making a turn, for instance, because the pedestrians just go out of view.
Yeah, they do.
And, where 509 of them every year are being killed because somebody didn't see them, is, well, that's appalling.
This was done. I get IIHS did this. Well, they found out about the pedestrian fatalities, but University of Hawaii's Economic Research Organization authored the earlier study that was called "The Effect of Front-End Vehicle Height on Pedestrian Death Risk," and yeah, there are no more sloping hoods. You can't see the end of the hood, basically.
Yeah.
You can't. It just goes off in a very square. It makes the vehicles, in my estimation, feel very big
And the problem is they're all going out trying to make them look like Range Rovers, which are big, square, tall. And I'm all for this. Have a maximum 49-inch hood height. Because their studies are showing that a 10 centimeter increase, that's about 4.5 inches, in the front end height is associated with a 22% increase in fatality risk. That's, hey, just no, you can't do this.
Well, also it helps aerodynamics, and I always thought with trucks, even medium-duty trucks, they talked about slanting the hood down, and I was at an event where they sat like a basketball out on a cone, and they said, "How far out can you see it?" And like, "This is our new design. Look, now you can see it further out." And yeah, I mean it's safer. It's certainly safer if you can see it, but I don't know. Style, needs to be adjusted for safety, I think. I do think they have to do something with that.
Yeah.
Les, hard to believe. You and I talked about this a long time ago on cruise control. Honda manufactures a jet, the Hondajet. We never thought about this. We talked about it. They started building them in 2015. And they made 250 of them. How about that? That is a slick.
Actually,
looks like a B-1 bomber.
That's nowhere near the price. That's this is a light jet, like a Learjet or a fan jet Falcon or one of those. But it's very far flying. It's got a tremendous range.
Yeah.
Man,
I love the matte black look, though. It definitely is B1 to me. It looks cool.
Mine would be white with a blue stripe.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll remember that when I order you one. It kind of reminds me weirdly in a weird sort of way of the S3 Viking. That was an anti-sub plane. That short, kind of stubby fuselage, with the high tail.
Right.
It kind of reminds me of that. But 250 of these, that's neat. The way the engines are mounted, it is.
Yeah, up on the nacelle. That's really cool looking, and it keeps a lot of the noise away from the cabin.
Yeah, because if you've ever ridden in a DC-9 next to the engines, it's not.
Oh man, many times.
Not fun. Not fun. Screaming. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cool stuff. And I bet a lot of our listeners never realized that Honda made jets. But apparently they're doing a very good job with them. And they don't put that in the press fleet.
They don't. Every once in a while they would talk about it, but not often. Mainly because first thing is they don't want us testing them.
Give it to some influencer. I know how to fly a jet. Right. That will work great. And of course, it's a jet, so you can't fly it. You need two people to fly it.
You need two people. You need all kinds of certification.
Yeah.
You need the jet.
I remember the drag racer and big aviation guy, Connie Coletta, who owns Coletta Air. If he was eliminated from Englishtown at the drag races, his son was also a jet pilot, they would fly out and buzz they come right up the track because there was an airport right next to the track. So if they were eliminated and they were like, we're going home, they would fly right up the track at low altitude, and they're like, Connie Coletta's headed home. He is an interesting individual, but it I remember that, and it was a little jet like the Hondajet, but it was it ripped right up the runway. I thought, well, that's pretty cool. He's definitely an old school guy when it comes to stuff like that. But it was fun and put on a little show for yeah. I was like, okay. All right. Well, we won't be ordering any one of those anytime soon. It's just a little bit.
Well, not this week. I've got to check my checking account. So.
How about this? Wheels always look cool on a car. Custom wheels. These look like plastic garbage can covers. They're from Tesla for the Cybertruck. They have little fingers that stick out. Guess what? Les, as an added feature, they're ripping holes in the sidewalls of the tires. Yeah. Just another problem. I don't think they look good, and they destroy tires. So not a great combination. But when we come back, we're going to talk about the Buick Envista and have an at-the-wheel review. So stay tuned to Cruise Control.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. It is at the wheel time, and we got a new one here from Buick. Quite affordable, which is good stuff, and we don't talk about affordable vehicles that much. This is the 2024 Buick Envista. It is got a long wheelbase, a long, low roof, sleek profile. It's a hatchback. On the inside, this is the Avenir trim, so you get upgraded seats, some nice stitching, some nice white piping around the edges of the seat. They were pretty comfortable. The dash, that is the two screens hidden behind a piece of glass. A lot of the switchgear, by the way, is 1980s, 1990s GM mixed in with some other things. Small speedometer panel that didn't really excite me. Pretty nice infotainment system. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, at least for now. GM's going to eliminate them. Wi-Fi hotspot. Work pretty well. As you can see, we got about 30 miles to the gallon on this vehicle. It had heated seats, a lot of mixture of things going on. You got piano black. You've got sort of textured black material. You've got sort of a engine-tuned applique around the shifter. So just a variety of stuff going on. Some shiny silver.
Assortment of parts bin stuff there.
Yeah, some gray stuff. Out back. Decent leg room, a decent headroom. This is a hatchback. Fold-down seats, of course, more of that great stitching. You don't get much in the way of amenities. Some cheap-looking USB ports, and then a hole, which has nothing in it to put stuff in, I guess. Seats fold relatively flat. The interior dominated by those two panels, but the small speedometer and graphics just don't look impressive. Out back, there's good room under the hatch. Basic interior out back, nothing stunning. Nice to see you do get a compact spare, which is rare these days, so that's good. Under the hood, you got a 1.2-liter three-cylinder, which has the turbo engine cover, which looks like it may have come from a Cavalier at some point. 137 horsepower.
A Cavalier, Fred?
Yes. 1.3, 3-liter, 137 horsepower, 6-speed automatic, front-wheel drive only. This is front-wheel drive only, so no all-wheel drive capable. Gets good EPA rating, 28 city, 32 highway. We got about 30 and change on the highway. Definitely, I do like the look of the vehicle. It's got that chrome trim that separates it. And, ours was the Avenir, which is the top of the range model. But you can get some sportier looking ones, too, with black wheels. And they've got a couple of different choices there. This is built in South Korea. Which is building most of the Buick lineup, believe it or not, is built in either China or South Korea. That's why they have become the cost leader for General Motors. So it's no longer Chevrolet. It's mostly Buick because of where they're building the vehicles. I definitely like the exterior looks. I like the front end. I like the utility of a hatch. I've always been a fan of the hatch. I'm just not a fan of that dash because there's a very small display for the speedometer, and the graphics just don't. I think they could have done a better job with the graphics. Also, the interior, while nice, and it comes with a heated steering wheel and heated seats, the hot spot, decent upholstery, it's kind of like a mishmash of materials and textures, and like they're trying too hard, and it's a lot of part spinning going on. The switchgear definitely looks like it's from 80s, 90s General Motors products. Not that that makes it bad, but it just, I think they could have done a better job with it. But the goal was to keep the price low. 3-cylinder, 137 horsepower vehicle. The engine really has to work, and it tells you it's working. You hear it. You hear it screaming away. But the good thing is pricing is, we talk about, can you find vehicles for less than $30,000? Ours came in just over it with destination, $30,490, but this was the top of the range of Envista Avenir, which had all the goodies in it. So ours had a base price of $28,600, and then they added in the Avenir safety package, rear cross traffic alert, mirrors, outside heated, power adjustable driver seat, auto dimming headlights, and then a lane change alert with side blind zone, adaptive cruise, wipers, front intermittent rain sense. It's got all the stuff. That was $795, which is not bad for $795. Total for the car, $29,395 and $1,095 destination. Total, as tested, $30,490. Has not been crash tested. This is built in Korea. Engine is from Mexico. Transmission is from Korea. So what do we have here? We have a pretty well-equipped small vehicle that gets 30 miles to the gallon. It is not powerful by any means. 137 is low horsepower these days. 3-cylinder.
Does it have any torque at all?
Around town it wasn't bad. But getting on highways, you really had to crowd that accelerator. And you heard that engine screaming, to do what you wanted. I like the exterior styling. I think I like the exterior styling more than the interior. The interior, they've tried to make it look cool, like, Mercedes and others with the big screen. But in reality, it's a tiny little screen with really, there's like 2 or 3 different settings for the graphics for the speedometer. None of them look good. They look amateurish, and that could be made better. I just think it's trying to look expensive, and it doesn't really get there. So I don't know. But yet, it's got all the safety features, even with that optional package, $795. It's got heated seats. It's got heated steering wheel. It's all there. It's just the packaging, I'm not so sure. It feels a little parts bin. And I just think, I don't know, a bigger screen. There's a lot of blank space around that speedometer screen. A bigger screen with better graphics would help. I don't think it would cost that much more. But if you're looking for a small vehicle that can be had for $26,000 in some of the lower trims, that has modern safety features, not a lot of power, has the utility of the trunk, of the hatch. I mean, it could be something to look at. You're just not going to go fast, and maybe you don't care about that. It has auto stop start. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was just, it looked like some of those door panels were from the 90s and the switch gears from the 90s. And, you know, the inexpensiveness of it shows at certain spots, especially out back where you just got that empty blank space for something. That something went there but is no longer there or was not brought up on that. So probably a great second car for someone. It'd be a great first car for a new driver that does not want a lot of speed but has all the safety features. So there you have it, the Buick Envista. This is the Avenir edition. Affordable, and it's got some style to it. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staab.
I'm Les Jackson.
We are going to see you down the road.